Hi, I'm Sue, creator of Couture and Couture kits. So you've got your hands on your Kathy Shorts kit and you're ready to start making. This is video 1 of a series of 2 and we'll concentrate on the pocket making and the assembly of the shorts. It should take about 2¼ to 2½ hours to complete. But do go at your own speed and pause or rewind at any point if you need to. So first, a quick look at the contents of your kit. In addition to the components and a bundle of scrap fabric cut-offs, which you can use for sewing trials or dyeing trials later on, you've got 2 front panels, 2 back panels, a waistband back, a waistband front, 2 back pockets, 4 side pockets, a casing for the drawstrings, a length of tape for drawstrings, your thread and your labels. You're not going to use the waistband pieces or the casing or the labels at this point, so put those to one side or keep them in your box. Before we start making, just a few things to consider. Seam allowances are 1½ centimetres unless otherwise advised. You've been provided with a magic marker pen which will fade in air or wash out with water. It does go slightly darker if ironed, but it will disappear eventually. Use this pen to highlight notches or wherever suggested to mark your fabric. It's much easier than tailor's chalk. Your linen fabric will naturally fray, so don't overhandle it. Handle it carefully to keep fraying at a minimum, and do neaten edges with zigzag or overlocking where suggested. Your care label has been prepared on cut-offs, so this will need trimming to shape before attaching to your garment and also neatening around the edges. And as with your designer label, it will dye to match your garment, so if you decide that rather than having a white pair of shorts you want to dye them, either attach your labels after dyeing, or if you're dyeing a pale shade, it will be okay to attach the labels at the early stages. Your linen is a natural fabric, so will contain some slubs and flecks throughout the fabric. This is characteristic of linen fabric. And finally, you've been supplied with a bobbin of cotton sewing thread. Please do use this rather than also polyester thread, as it's a natural fibre, so it's biodegradable, and it will dye to match your garment if you choose to garment dye. There is just enough to complete your shorts, as the image shows. This is how much yarn was left when I finished the shorts, but you do need to use it as per instructions, so only zigzag where indicated, and use a straight stitch for your seams, and cut sparingly. Don't use to overlock, because you won't have enough on this reel for overlocking. So if you want to overlock, you need to supply your own cotton thread if you want to garment dye. Right, we'll start with the back pockets. So identify the front and the back panels. You need the 2 back panels which have a triple notch on the curved seam, and they have drill holes to mark where the pocket is going to go at the back. In industry, drill holes are used rather than tailor's tacks. So mark all the notches with your magic marker and mark a point 1 centimetre above each drill hole, and then join these 2 marks with a ruler to make a horizontal line which will form the top of your pocket. Set your machine to a wide zigzag, and then take your 2 rectangular back pocket pieces and zigzag along the top 2 short edges. The top is where the notches are left and right towards the top on the sides. Fold in and press this top edge using the 2 notches as the point at where you fold it. It will be 3 centimetres from the top, and fold in 1 centimetre at the bottom and press the bottom, so you're pressing both edges towards each other. Now at each corner down the sides, sew a 1 centimetre seam. So a short seam at the top of it'll be 3 centimetres long, and a very tiny seam at the bottom, it will be 1 centimetre long. Remember to backstitch to make sure that these little seams are secure. Trim off the corners and grade the tiny little seams, which is shown in the final picture. So grading the seams just removes some of the bulk of the fabric, so that when you turn your pocket the right way round, you get a nice sharp corner. Now carefully turn all these corners the right way out. If you use a closed pair of small scissors, like embroidery scissors, to gently push out these corners, you'll get them nice and square and sharp. Once you've turned out these little corner areas, use a medium heat iron or a 2-dot iron to press in 1 centimetre on the pocket sides and to repress the pocket top and bottom. Now on the right side, top stitch a line 2.5 centimetres from the pocket top, as you can see in the first diagram, backstitch at the start and the finish. Now on each back panel of your shorts, line a pocket up with the line that you've drawn. The line will be just slightly shorter than the pocket, so line your pocket up centrally, and the second diagram shows this, and then pin each pocket into place. Now starting at one top corner of each pocket, stitch a little box, little rectangular shape, as you can see in the image, which will secure and strengthen the top corners of your pocket, and then stitch all the way down and across the bottom and back up the other side of the pocket, just 1 millimetre from the edge of the pocket if you can, 1 or 2 millimetres, and finish off with another box at the top of the pocket on the other side. Repeat on both pockets. It may sound silly, but remember not to stitch across the top of your pocket, or you will end up with a patch and not a pocket. Now we're moving on to the side pockets. These can be a little tricky, but if you follow each stage carefully and go slowly, you'll get these just perfect. On each of your 4 side pocket pieces, zigzag or overlock the curved edge and the bottom edge of each piece. Now zigzag or overlock the curved shape edge of each front panel. With the curved edges facing each other, put the front panels on your table and take 2 pocket pieces, line each one up with the top outside corners, match the notches and pin in place down the straight edges. Sew a 1.5 centimetre seam to attach your pocket to the front panels, and then zigzag all the way down from the top to the bottom, so you're zigzagging the pocket together with the front panel. Using a medium heat iron, press each pocket out away from the shorts and press the seam towards the pocket. Now you're going to understitch the pocket onto the seam allowance. Now you can do this either on the wrong side or the right side, but I do it on the right side. So as you can see in the second diagram, your pocket is pressed away from the shorts, and then very close to the seam, if you stitch a line about 1 or 2 millimeters away from the seam, down in the seam allowance area, from the top of the pocket to the bottom, this will hold your pocket nice and sharply away from the body of your shorts when you're wearing them. Take your back 2 panels and along each long edge that has the 2 notches in, zigzag all the way along that edge, and zigzag also the notched edge of the remaining 2 pocket pieces. These 2 pieces are not going to be zigzagged together. Position these 2 remaining pocket pieces at the top corners as you did with the fronts, and pin them into place and sew a 1.5 centimetre seam down the edge of the pocket. As with the front pieces, press the pockets away from the shorts and the seam allowance towards the pocket. Take a front and a back panel, position them on top of each other as can be seen in the first image, pin around the pocket and down the sides of the shorts, leaving a gap in the centre of the pocket area. The notches form the position from where to pin down and to pin up. Now with the next bit, it's essential to take care. This is the important bit to get your pocket perfect. So we're going to start by sewing from the top of the shorts, from the waist area down to the first notch. You have to sew precisely on the short side but next to the seam that's already there. So the second image shows me sewing from the top to the first notch where I've positioned a pin. Backstitch when you reach that notch. Now again from the lower notch, you're going to sew all the way down to the bottom of the shorts, to the hem. So starting at the notch, the lower notch of the pocket area, and precisely next to the sewing line of the seam that's already there, but on the shorts side rather than the pocket side of that seam, stitch right next to your existing line all the way to the bottom. Now some pressing is required back and forth to make sure that you get good sharp edges to your pocket. So start by pressing the pinned pocket towards the shorts panel and press the seam allowance open. You can see this image is number 4. Take care not to press over the pin heads as they could melt. Now turn your shorts over so that you have the front of the shorts on your table and the back of the shorts facing upwards. And open the seam allowance again, press it open in this direction with the pocket pressed away from the shorts. So you will see in the 5th diagram, you've got the shorts to the outside and the front seam allowance is now pressed in the same direction as the pocket is facing. So prepare each pocket like this, so you'll have the 2 back panels facing upwards, the curved seams face together, one pocket goes out to the left and the other pocket goes out to the right, and the same with the front seam allowances. One will be pressed out to the left and the other will be pressed out to the right. Now the final image shows you how to start sewing around the pocket. Start with your needle positioned precisely in the join of the seam, in the groove, 1.5 centimeters in. You're going to sew a 1.5 centimeter seam all the way along the bottom and up the curved edge of the pocket. So starting at that precise point, as can be seen in the final diagram, with a little bit of back stitching to secure your seam, sew a seam all the way along the bottom and up the curved edge to the top of the pocket and back stitch when you finish. It's important that you don't stitch, even when back stitching, onto the back panel of the shorts. So where the needle is punched into the seam join, that you must go forwards from that point. Don't stitch back or your pocket won't be neat when you open it up and press it the right way out. So you will have stitched the front seam allowance onto the pocket. Now some more pressing with a medium heat iron now on the outside of your shorts. So press the seam open and the pockets towards the front of the shorts, and then along the top waist area stitch the pocket to the shorts fabric just 5 millimeters from the edge of the waistline. Now trim off any loose threads and any frayed edges before we assemble the shorts. With a wide zigzag or using your overlocker, neaten the curved shaped edges of the back panels. Then with right sides together on the short shaped angled edge, pin the front to the back of each short leg. The angle on this seam is needed for the hem, so when you turn the hem up it will sit flat successfully. Press open these 2 short seams as can be seen in the 3rd image. Now turn one of the legs the right way out and put this leg inside the other one, matching the curved edge, matching the seams and matching the notches. Pin all the way around this curved seam, making sure that you pin open the seam allowances at the crotch, and then sew a 1.5 centimeter seam all the way around the curved edge. Then repeat this process so that you reinforce the entire seam. You'll see in the final picture I've got 2 lines of stitching very close together. Carefully clip this curved edge with your fabric shears, making sure you don't snip through the sewing lines, and then with the tip of your iron press the entire curved seam open. Turn the right way out and you're ready to move on to the waistband section. So head to YouTube and select the 2nd video of the series for Cathy Drawstring shorts. This one will cover the waistband and the finishing instructions.